I had to go to school, man. I didn't know any of these songs, man. So I had to chart out so many songs. And then when I got here, I realized I don't want to be on the road. We can make way better money in town. I'll stay home and go to my own bed and do that.
It is I, the Poptimist. Today we have Lauren Scheff.
Woo! Big crowd screaming, woo-hoo, woo-hoo, what up?
Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, bro.
So talk to me a little bit about what your CMA Fest experience was as a musician.
Okay, so we're diving into CMA Fest 2026. So this is my second year. I've been here for 9 years. That's actually the second year I've actually done a CMA Fest show. And we do it for WME, which is William Morris Endeavor. It's a huge agency. And this year we did 2 days instead of 3, like we did last year. And, man, it was something crazy. Like, I want to say it was 7 artists a day, or at least 6.
How long were the sets?
That we had to back up. This year they were pretty kind to us. They only made us do 3 songs. And I think it was like 1 or 2 originals and a cover.
So it was like a Opry arrangement a little bit.
Totally, yeah. So it was the Losers house band, the bar in Midtown. We were the house band. It was in the Losers parking lot. And it was on a Monday and a Tuesday. And I mean, no shade. It's just I know people's schedules are crazy, but we didn't get these songs until literally a day or 2 before we had to go.
How many songs total?
Well, let's say if there were 6, so 18 a day, so 36. And there were covers in there, and we knew most of the covers, but there were some covers that, like the Red Stray Cats, or what is that band called?
Red Stray Clays.
Yeah. It was an easy song, but we had to chart out a bunch of stuff. So it was a lot of work, but the reward is when we made it through each set, and the look on the people, the agents over at WME were stoked. They were so happy. So we were like, woo, we made it. But that was I've never been under a stressful environment like that before. So yeah, CMA Fest, we made it, and it was very chaotic.
What was so stressful about it? Was it just learning that amount of songs so quickly?
It was learning that amount of songs so quickly in a very short amount of time, which we're being down in Nashville working on Broadway. We're used to that. Like either in the moment you got to play a song that you don't know, or maybe you got to learn the song, a couple songs the night before the gig or something like that. But yeah, just charting. And the way it works is there are 3 of us. There's a drummer, the guitar player, and me. So the drummer's arranging all of his stuff for his rhythm stuff. I'm doing all the chordal stuff for us. The guitar players learn all the head licks. So, and he's not dealing with charting, and I'm doing all that. So we all work collectively together, and it's just it's a lot, man. It's and it's a high pressure. These are some of them are legacy artists, some of them are up and coming, and it was just. I don't know. I'm just not used to working that hard in crunch time. So it's a challenge, which is fun. It makes being a musician like, okay, this is what we've been doing for so many years, to be prepared for moments like that. So yeah, it was fun. It was just a lot. 36 songs, bro. And
that's a lot to learn quickly.
And you gotta nail it, man. And you gotta nail it. And the thing is, you gotta make them look great. It's not about me.
Yeah, totally. Especially A, if you're in a backing band, B, if you're the bass player.
Yeah, man. And we can't screw up because we are harmony. So if I hit a bad note, it's not good. Everyone notices it. So yeah, they were all stoked. And last year we did it. We did 3 nights last year, and it was great. They set us up in their private suite and to go see a Predators game as like a thank you to us. And so luckily we made it through this week, and that week was just nuts because I work Thursday through Sunday it's my residency is over at Losers, and then Monday, Tuesday we did CMA Fest, and that was chaotic, and then I had Wednesday off and then right back in it, and this whole month has been nonstop. I've actually worked more this month than I have in a long time.
Busy season.
It's just busy season, yeah. A lot of pickup shifts, so.
Yeah, I got to play for the first time at CMA Fest. I mean, it was at Honky Tonk Central on the 2nd floor.
Yeah.
We were doing an opening shift. I was playing with Western Downpour. Mm-hmm. So I've been just kind of filling in whenever they give me a call to play bass. But I got that gig through Kaylee from Kaylee and the Cobras.
Sure.
Kaylee Gray. She's a great singer. And so that whole thing, it was kind of funny the way that it happened because we've been practicing with Kaylee and the Cobras, wanting to kind of put something together for Broadway. Been really practicing since March. Went to honky tonk school kind of once we felt like we were ready, knew enough songs to be able to cover a 4-hour shift. And Kaylee got pulled off to the side by Scott Collier. And he was like, "You're great. You're fantastic. We want you to be a vocal coach." He introduced her to all the musicians in the room, brought her up on stage, and she met Vince Youngs, who was the singer for Western Downpour, that way, and was like, "Hey," he was like, "I want to take a vocal lesson with you."
Nice.
And then they did a vocal lesson. Then Western Downpour and Vince got gigs on Broadway. They got some shifts, and he was like, "I can't cover 4 hours on my own. I feel like we need a co-front."
Cool.
So we got a co-front. And which was Kaylee, and then once a spot became available, as soon as they needed a bass player, Kaylee was like, "I want Taylor to do it." So, dude, and
right. But for you, what was that like? Because you haven't really been down there much.
I've done it some, but not totally like the way that I've been doing it, or trying to do it. So it was definitely scary. It was a new experience because it was like I never played with any of the musicians other than Kaylee.
Sure.
So there was some comfort there just because I know Kaylee.
Yeah.
And she knows that I can play and that I can do the work. But it's like the amount of material that you have to know to play down on Broadway. I mean, we've talked about this. There's no way of ever actually being ready. And the first day, there was definitely some times where I just fucking crashed and burned, dude. I crashed and burned on Living on a Prayer, the key change.
Oh, yes.
And then I crashed and burned on You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi. That was like an epic proportions crash and burn, though.
The Living on the Prayer thing, you're not alone. I've crashed on it a few times.
Yeah.
It's not been good. And we're just so used to being in the open position because we normally play in G, so E minor, right?
Yeah.
It goes up to B flat. And it's just kind of a weird move because I play from pattern. It's so weird. So if I'm used to playing a song in a certain key and they're going, "Yeah, we need this in F sharp," I'm like, "Oh, I got to rethink for some reason." But crashing and burning is good, man. Because did you go home and learn that song?
Absolutely. So the next day we played it again. I fucking nailed it.
Totally.
They didn't call You Give Love a Bad Name, but I was ready for that as well.
Good.
And it's just like you're doing so much. Some stuff it's like you can kind of just pick up by ear in the moment, even if it's not perfect. Yeah. But there's certain songs that are just difficult to do that for, where you need the charts, and even if you have a chart. Yeah. You're like Jesse's Girl. That's another one. I don't dislike that song, but I fucking hate playing that song.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not an easy. It's not. We talked about this. A lot of the '80s stuff is not intuitive. Yeah. As far as the arrangements go, and as far as the arrangement of instruments go. Yeah. People were on cocaine.
I'll give you a big out on this too. We've talked about there's a lot of people that play these songs wrong. Jesse's Girl is everyone plays that song wrong at the end. They don't play like the arrangement. And we've talked about there's the right way, the wrong way, and then there's the Broadway. Yeah.
Logan Hatcher has said that on this podcast before.
Okay. So give yourself a break on some of these arrangements. Because, man, I've played stuff where Living on a Prayer is a good example. We're playing it, and most singers don't want to do the mod. It's just too hard.
Really?
That's a normal thing down there where they just don't do the mod. So my brain is kind of automatic. Okay, we're not going to go mod. And last Friday we played it, and I saw a hand signal to me like this. I wasn't sure if it was up or if it was just to not mod. So I didn't mod. The whole band modded.
Oh, no.
And I'm still in E minor, and it's like all of a sudden I get three heads just staring at him. I'm like, fuck. So I jumped up to position. But, man, that first line of that new mod in the chorus was horrific. And this guy's been doing it for 9 years. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And that was a high-pressure gig, but we made it, and everyone was fine.
Well, it never feels good, especially as a bass player, because it's like guitar players, what they have to know the signature licks.
Yeah.
The drummers, they have to be able to keep time. Like, if in the drummer we were playing with, he really, I can't fucking remember what his name is. He's really fucking good though.
Okay.
But I feel like most of the time when you're working with a drummer in Nashville, it's rare to encounter a drummer that can't hang. Like it's been few and far between in my entire time in Nashville. I can name maybe on one hand drummers that I was like, they don't got it. Yeah. They can't hang.
That's usually super green guys, but anyone that's been down there for a minute will figure it out.
Yeah.
But your work ethic of going, man, I screwed up on Living on a Prayer, went home, re-listened to it and go, okay, now I've got it.
Yeah.
So
it's just like sometimes you do have to sit there, or I have to sit there and play through that one change like 10 times until I nail it.
Totally. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's part of the process, you know, and it like to me playing down on Broadway is more of the utility of music. Like, can you show up and do the job? Like, can you be easy to work with? Because so much of Broadway is musician to musician, it's reputation. It's like Taylor is nice to have around, Scheff is nice to have around. They can play, but here's XYZ why we like playing with them. Because there's a lot of great bass players. There's a plethora. Like, there's been bass players that have been very good to me and have given me guidance over the years. Jeremy Kahn, he's one. He plays a lot downtown.
I watched Jeremy on this. I learned more about Jeremy in the podcast you did with him than I've known the last.
But dude, he told some great stories.
Killer. I loved his crap. I love him taking a tour and completely
shitting himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is the best story to tell his grandkids.
Yeah.
It's killer.
Yeah, I know. And it's great to hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable to hear stuff like that. Or Logan Hatcher, he's been on a couple times. Logan's a really good guy.
Yeah, man.
He's just solid.
Yeah.
Joe Birmingham, he's another one. Great player.
Joe's a vet, man.
Yeah. So it's like I feel lucky that there's been a lot of bass players who have been good to me and shared their knowledge.
Yeah.
Of what they have learned in the way, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I've fucked up."
We have the best community, our bass community, hands down. I'm not in the drummer scene and the guitar player scene, but from what I've seen from our bass players, everyone looks out for each other. If we need a shift cover, there's someone's going to come through and help us out. If we need any advice, you go to any of these bass players. They're going to share it with you. And I think Nashville's Broadway community is like that in general. But our bass community is hands down the best.
What's so funny about, I think, Broadway, too, it's on the surface. Like, imagine, like, what the tourists see, what they think it is, which, to a certain degree, they're right in what they think it is. It is glamorous to a certain degree. But it's like, I bomb those fucking notes. They don't know that I'm going home, and I'm like, I'm never going to fucking fuck up again.
Bro, they don't even know that you bombed the note.
No.
Trust me.
They had people were singing and dancing while all that was going on. Clueless.
Yeah, they don't
The
care.
band knew, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because it's like, it felt good the next day when I nailed it, and Christian, the guitar player, he was just like, yes. And we were laughing while we were doing it, and I was like, okay. And then was like the last shift that I did with them. Like the first, I would say 3 shifts were not good. And we played one the day before, like the last one that we did, and it was bad, dude. Like all 5 of us were actually. The drummer was good, but everybody at a certain point fucked up. There was gear issues, there was vocal issues, there was sound issues. And it was like a rainy, shitty day and just humid, even though we were inside, it just
still sucks.
Your instrument, it plays different. It feels different in your hands on those days. But when we played the next day, like it was solid. That was the first day that I was like, okay, I have the command that I normally have and the authority that I normally have as a bass player right now. And I was even able to recognize that in the moment while we were doing it. And I'm like, this feels right. This is what I normally feel like as a bass player.
It'll get easier.
Yeah.
I know that. You put in the reps, it'll get easier.
But I also know there's going to be other gigs, like the one that I mentioned that was that Friday gig, where it was just like none of us felt like we sounded good, and everything just fell apart at various points.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's live music, man. We have great days, and then we have a couple weird ones. So.
Well, it's it's funny too because I feel like I do a lot of different kinds of musical things. It's like I'm doing the Broadway thing, but I'm also doing the instrumental jam project for the silent horror movies. And the first one was good. It was like we were figuring it out. The second one, there was some adversity there. And when we've talked about this before too, when you're playing out of like fight or flight mode, you know, it's like you're like, for this, it's like we're running against the clock. We only have so much time to execute.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But it was, sometimes that can be fun. Yesterday it was not fun.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the worst day playing music is better than doing Uber or Lyft or working in an office.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate.
We're fortunate to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to skin your knee. And you find out really what you're made of. And it was like, even in the moment of yesterday of everything sucking, or in that gig down on Broadway of everything sucking, I'm still like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't expect every session, every gig to go perfectly. Like with gigs, you can't really do anything about it after the fact other than you just go home and learn more.
Yeah.
For sessions, I mean, it depends on what goes wrong, because sometimes it's shit that's out of your control.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Different world. You got to come in and deliver immediately, and if you don't, you're not getting called back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no room for error there. But
have you done a lot of session work in your time in Nashville?
I've spent a lot of times, not in Nashville, back home in LA. I did.
Okay.
And man, I grew up in those studios, and I was very fortunate because I'm old, and I grew up at a time where home studios weren't an issue. They weren't a thing yet. You still had to go to a studio to go cut songs. So, yeah, man, I cut. I learned how to run a 24-track machine at 17 years old. Man, I was very lucky.
Well, you grew up in a musical family.
Yeah.
So you had a musical background. What was music like for you growing up? Like, when did you first start playing?
Like, coming from a musical family, it was just there all the time, man. It was all the time. And so growing up, there was always instruments there. There was always a piano in the house. There was always a guitar. There was a drum set. There was something. All my brothers, we all play music. Our dad, our mom, everyone plays music in our family. And so you just don't know any other way. Like, that just seemed normal. And having, quote unquote, famous people in our family, that just seemed normal. It was like, oh yeah, that's my brother. He's on MTV, and oh yeah, my dad played for Elvis. That's cool, man. That's just the way it is, right? For most people, it's not. But growing up in LA, everything that seems normal to us is very not normal for most people.
Well, I imagine it's the same degree for kids that grow up in Nashville.
Yeah.
Where it's like their, dad plays with fucking Dolly Parton or some shit.
It's normal out here, right? So, but I was very fortunate coming up in that environment, and I started playing music. I think my mom showed me a few chords on the piano when I was like 10 or 11, and I remember recording my first song at my brother's place. He had a Lin 9000 and DX7, and he just said, let's record something. So I just played some dumb piano thing, and it actually sounds pretty good for a 12-year-old. I was pretty impressed. Very basic, very simple. And from there, I just learned, man. And I looked to my brothers because that was immediately who was in my environment. And I got a bass at 13, and the rest is history, man.
So you were a bass player from the jump?
Yeah, I mean, piano was the first thing that I kind of got into, and then I got an acoustic guitar at 12. I learned how to play Hotel California, at least the opening chords.
Yeah.
Great
chord changes, by the way.
Bro, for a 12-year-old, you're learning some chords. Man.
That's complex.
It's complex. The first riff I learned on bass, and I think was "Sunshine of Your Love," and which is. It's a cool riff.
Yeah.
And, of course, Smoke on the Water.
The classic.
Bum, bum, which really is just the bass players pedaling it, but none of us, I don't know.
No, yeah.
We always play the riff.
Yeah, totally.
And, so just growing
Broadway.
up. Yeah, I was playing at the Broadway. And, I don't know, just growing up in that environment, man, I got a 4-track when I was in high school. My brother, that's the good thing about having older brothers that are musicians. You get a lot of hand-me-downs.
Because they're getting new gear and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, you want this?
Yeah. So like my brother got an 8-track. And so he handed me down his Tascam 244 4-track, which was actually a really good 4-track. And then my brother, Darren, got an MPC 60. So he handed me his old Lynn drum. So I'm getting all this hand-me-down that no one wants anymore. But for me, it was everything.
It was brand new.
It was opening my eyes. But I got a DX7 around that same time. So I'm 15 years old. I've got a DX7. I've got a Lynn drum. I've got a 4-track. I've got a bass. I've got a shitty guitar. And at least I'm starting to record and learning the concept of all this stuff. And I just archived all my 4-track stuff that I did from age 15 until probably my mid-20s. And it's amazing to hear the progress because I can hear what I sounded like at 15 years old to 16, from 16 to 17, night and day. And then all of a sudden I got a really killer keyboard, a Korg M1 at 17. And all of a sudden the production value, everything went up. And it's... For us, we were dealing with very limited technology. Nowadays, we can just do everything on our phone. You have everything I'm talking about can be done tenfold there. But we learned how to record to tape as a kid. We couldn't punch in, man. That was the other thing that's interesting about music today. So many people want to record and punch in and do a bunch of takes and comp vocals and punch. I'm like, man, on tape, you can't run the tape a million times over and over again because it degrades every time you play it. So you had to get the performance. And punching in, there was an art. And if it was a real close punch, you couldn't crossfade like we can in Pro Tools or Logic. You had to get it, and it had to be a good punch. And so there was an art to learn how to play music live to tape, even if it's 4-track, that we just don't have, unfortunately. And I know I sound like a boomer, so
No,
I'll shut
dude,
up.
well, I agree. It's like a lot of the sessions that I do now, whether I'm a bass player or producer or whatever, I like getting a clean take.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get a take and you feel like, that wasn't my best take, but the band might have sounded good.
Yeah.
Or the vocal performance might have sounded good.
Yeah.
So that's the one you want to go with.
Yep.
But
I'm all for fixing stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's just the people that are perpetual punching and just like, where's your take? And now you're just getting little 30-second or 10-second performances. Learn to play the whole song down and go fix a few spots.
Totally.
That's an art too, though, man.
Well, I feel like that is the craft of being a studio musician, having that mindset.
Bro, growing up in LA, I was able to be in world-class studios around world-class musicians, watching studios done. I was just talking about this with Keo, who's a drummer out here, and he was invited to go hang out with Eddie in the studio and watch how studio sessions were done. You go in and watch these world-class musicians cut a song in a studio. You understand why they are on every single record and how good they are at their craft. It's not that they don't screw up, but they don't. And I've seen Lando look at a lead sheet and play the song down and just perform the most amazing guitar track. And they're going, cool, roll it again. Now let's double it. And then they double it, and then he'll do a lead, boom, in and out. It's crazy how fast and how creative these guys are.
Yeah.
And if the producer's like, yeah, that wasn't really the right vibe, we need something else, boom, they can come up with 10 ideas like that until it's right.
Yeah.
That's an art, man. It's an art.
It is. Yeah, I think it's almost like a dying art form a little bit, too, because I feel like the session musician or that idea over the past 20 or 30 years has really dwindled.
Yeah.
It's not something that exists the way it used to. If you think about all of the great session bass players back in the day, whether it's Carol Kay or James Jamerson, whoever it might be, that just played on all these fucking records.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for just showing up and being able to
Deliver.
To do the job.
You know, my dad did a lot of sessions back in the late 60s through up until the mid-90s. And it's funny asking him about some of these sessions. Like, you know what? I just got the call. And
It was just another Tuesday.
It was another Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, but it's an iconic record. He goes, yeah, but to me, it was just work. It was like us showing up to a Broadway gig. I'm playing Honky Tonk Third today.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of these were really memorable, but it's amazing when these guys are working 5 days a week. A lot of it's just they don't think about who they're doing. They're going in and doing their job, and they're killing it, man, and they're delivering, and there's an art to that, which was never my thing to be a studio guy.
Really?
Yeah, I loved writing and recording, and I worked in studios all the time. The idea of trying to be a world-class studio musician was just not really that was never it. I like creating music with my friends and writing with people.
Totally.
So,
yeah. Bringing your own vision or being a part of the vision.
Yeah. But I've definitely played on enough stuff in my life, and it's fun to go in there and have to kill it. And I like being under that pressure. And when I look at my notes I took for charts back in the day, I'm like, I don't know how I played through these songs the way I wrote out these charts, because I found some that make no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'll get a gig and I'll make charts for it and I'll have them. It's like pretty much every chart I've ever written since I've been in Nashville, I have in one binder for like artist gigs.
Okay.
And it's like I'll go back through and I'll look at it and I'll be like, I would have no fucking idea how to play this now.
Yeah. I'm there with you, bro.
And I was the one who recorded the bass for that track.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to kind of look back on that.
It's embarrassing, but we grow from it.
Totally.
I can write much better charts today. Nashville actually taught me how to write a chart, because coming out here and not knowing any of these songs, because when I came out here, originally the idea was maybe I can pick up an artist gig, like a tour gig, playing bass. I'll play Broadway just to make some bread, right? Because the buddy I only knew one guy, Greg Watson, when I moved out here. And Greg was on tour with, I think, Brandy Clark at the time, and was working Broadway on the side, right? So that was like, okay, I'm coming out. I'm going to do what Greg's going to do. And then when I got here, I realized I don't want to be on the road. We can make way better money in town. I'll stay home and go to my own bed and do that. So, but I had to go to school, man. I didn't know any of these songs, man. So I had to chart out so many songs. And I just learned how to write. I didn't know Nashville numbers when I moved here either.
Talk about what the Nashville number system is, just for people who are listening who might not know what it is.
God, it's so lame. I don't know how to explain it. It's basically, if you're in the key of C, every note in the scale, there's 7 actual notes, and so each scale is the first note is C, second is D, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, B is 7, and then C is 1 again, or 8. So if we're looking at Wagon Wheel, we're looking at starts on the 1, goes to the 5, goes to the 6, goes to the 4. Right? That's the Nashville number system. So we don't write letters out. We write numbers out, and it's the degree of whatever the scale
because
is.
the singer might want to change the key.
That's the original reason why they did that.
It was invented by session musicians.
Session guys, yep.
And it's like you're working on songs, you're playing songs. Well, it's like, well, actually, this is not working for my voice today.
Yeah.
Can we do it
or higher?
Yeah, exactly. Can we do it lower?
Yeah.
Or
So instead of rewriting a whole chart, everything's in numbers. So we're just moving positions up for it. But coming out here, it was great. I've learned how to write charts fast, quick. I can write a chart in 12 to 15 minutes. I have relative pitch, so I can at least hear a song. I can see those changes going on. I can write out what it is 90% of the time. Unless it's a Steely Dan song. I'm gonna need a guitar or bass for that. But yeah, I learned to write real quick, and I use one chart, which is an iPad app that's amazing. I haven't found another one that's better. And learning how to write charts I had to learn that out here. And I feel like I wish I knew about the Nashville system 20 years ago. It's the Nashville number system.
You can use it. The funny thing is, you can use it in Seattle. You can use it in
anywhere.
L.A.
Rock, jazz. Kind of a lot of those cats they talk about. They'll go, yeah, we're going to skip a 2-5-1 progression. It's the Nashville number system.
Totally.
It's already been there.
Yeah, I'm just in the process of really learning how to write charts, and I've sent a couple to you. I'm like, does this look right?
Yeah.
And you'll send me back the chart, and you're like, you're close. Here's what it actually looks like.
Man, there is an art to learn, to being able to read a number chart and to be able to read and to write one. And that took me a minute. There's actually an art to being able to take numbers on stage too, because you're stressed out not knowing the song, and now you're looking at the guitar player, and he's like 1, okay, and he's going 3, like okay. It's stressful, especially
and
if
it depends on how.
changes.
Yeah, I was gonna say how quick those changes are happening
man,
too.
Yeah, so definitely one of the things I wish I knew better was I wish I knew how to read and write charts better before I got here. But You learn real quick in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When you need to pay that rent, pay those bills, and you got that credit card bill due, you figure out real fast how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, too, if a lot of musicians are pretty self-critical of their performance, I would say.
Sure.
And if you eat shit on a gig,
Yeah.
like no one wants to play with the guy or gal who were like, I fucking killed it. And they ate shit. You know what I mean?
I've met plenty of those people that
Yeah.
think they're killers, and you're going, okay, awesome.
Well, those are the people who don't get calls again.
They won't get a call again, yeah.
But if you're like, even after the gigs that I played with Western Downpour, like they were dividing up the money. We were in the back, like the little room at
Yeah.
Honky Tonk Central that's away from everything so you can count your money.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was going over the list. I was like, okay, talking to Guitar Pro, I was like, I fucked this up. I fucked this up. I fucked this up. Was there anything else that you noticed?
Did he give you some feedback?
Yeah, he did. Well, basically, he was just like, no, you pretty much, like, everything you listed is, I would say, listen to those again.
Cool.
And it wasn't even like he was mean or anything like that. I think people like it when you take fucking accountability,
Yeah.
firstly. Because it's not a good feeling as a bass player to be fucking tripping and falling over yourself on stage.
sucks.
But even in the moment, I feel like I'm at an age now where I accept that is part of the process sometimes. And you can't just let it bring you down. Like, be aware of it and go and do the work and fix it. But you can't dwell on your fuck-ups.
No.
You just have to fix it. That's what it comes down to.
You got to do the work, man. You got to go home and do the work. And that seems to be a recurring theme every time I talk to someone about this that's gotten started. How did they get better? You take notes, you go home and you do the work, and then you come back and you have it corrected.
Yeah.
And guess what? I don't care if you've been here for 6 months or 6 years or 10 years. We all run into bad times where we got to fix stuff. We got to learn stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
It just comes with the gig, man. Like, literally, it comes with the gig.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Is like, especially if you're playing with new people and in unfamiliar situations, which I think as a musician you always kind of want to be in if you want to continue to grow.
Yeah.
You don't want to stay stagnant. But it's just a part of the process, and it's funny to see the way things have changed in Nashville on the musician front, because it's changed a lot since I've moved here. Like, I've been here since 2015.
Okay.
And done all sorts of stuff, done a lot of cool stuff, been very lucky. But I also, when I first moved to town, there was like a divide by the river of East Nashville guys in Broadway.
Big time.
It was like there was the East Nashville musicians and there was the Broadway musicians. And those two things didn't cross ever. It was like they both looked down on each other. You know, it was like warring gangs kind of.
I mean, I think East Nashville looked down on the Broadway guys more than
I would agree with that. 100%. And I was in the East Nashville, scene for a while. And
yeah, you guys don't have the balls to do what Broadway musicians do. Sorry, I'm going to call it out as is.
I agree with that.
Talented musicians that are road original guys, but they wouldn't last 2 seconds downtown. Sorry. It's a different world.
It's a different world. Well, and it's in the time of me being here, though, that's kind of switched where a lot of the East Nashville cats are now becoming Broadway musicians because they're realizing
they want that money,
exactly. Bro. I can fund my projects and not have a job.
Yep.
And then on off nights, go take gigs, or I can go play road gigs. We can do a weekend run down to Georgia, Alabama, hit Chattanooga on the way back, and then be back on Tuesday for our gig.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
But that's one thing that I have seen that's been the biggest change is there's so much overlap. Now.
There's so many people that have transplants that have moved here, even though I'm a transplant. But post-COVID, we just have an influx of really okay musicians down here. So it's not the same as it was when I got here. When I got here, I remember you would just see some of the best bands playing. I mean, there were okay bands, but on every main stage down there, 90% of the time you're going to see an amazing band that was just so good at their craft, great musicians, playing great songs. Now we've got double the stages, and we've got a lot of hacks down there on main stages because they need warm bodies, and I know it sounds bitter and old, but it is what it is.
Well, How have you noticed the musicianship change though? Like what makes you say that?
Because we had an exodus during COVID. We lost half of our players. They all left. Everyone didn't know what the hell was going on. They panicked. I get it. I panicked too. And then they didn't come back. So we had a bunch of people that we needed musicians out here. Like by the time we were roaring in 21, we opened up late 2020. Definitely by January, February of 21, things were kicking back here. And we needed musicians. We didn't have enough bodies to fill the stages. And new stages were being opened, new bars were being opened. So you had an influx of people that were seeing all the social media stuff going, man, I need to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
This is where it's at. And you had a bunch of people blogging or vlogging about the money that's being made down there. And people like, really? Playing 4 hours? I can go down there and make that kind of money? Let me get there. And then you just had an influx of bands that started playing down there that are okay. I'm not going to say they suck, but they're just like, they're mid. They're like just average.
What's the difference between a good pro band and a mid band?
I would say 90% of the time, if you go to the stage down on Broadway, any band that's playing on that main stage, on that main floor, especially during the weekend, like Thursday through Sunday, you're going to see an amazing band where everyone is stellar at what they do. You know, you go to Kid Rock's on the weekend, you're going to see stellar bands. John Stone, Dean James, Scott Collar's band is solid. He's got amazing guys in his band. The Mance Brothers, you're going to see guys that are great at their crafts. That stage is a little more of a obviously rock and roll and a big
It feels
show.
like an arena rock show.
Yeah, it's a big show. And then you go to the stage and you see like Connor Sweet. It's got Jamie Michael. It's got Dave Savage on drums, Greg Watson on bass, and Connor is up there fronting. And it's like just world-class musicians. And Connor plays great classic country songs, and he'll play a little bit of everything. But Jamie is just a world-class electric guitar player and knows how to dial up sounds for each song. So he's not the guy that just kind of has that sound the whole night and has his lead tone. Jamie is dialing in sounds for this Shenandoah song, and then there's George Strait song, and then this Alan Jackson sound. He's a tone-shaping freak the whole night. That is also part of what made these bands great, is they cared, and they really learned the parts. Jamie learns all these signature licks that are on these songs, and he cares about it. When I saw a band playing Chattahoochee, and the guitar player didn't know that basic intro lick.
The famous intro lick.
The famous intro lick. And they were just going, I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like, learn the lick, man. At least learn the head licks. If there's one job an electric guitar player has in a band, learn the head licks. I don't care if the solos aren't perfect, but at least learn those signature licks.
I feel like usually when there's songs that are like that are kind of half-assed, that are country songs out on Broadway,
yeah,
it's usually a rock guitar player.
Well,
it's not his first language.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So we had all these great musicians come here. We have a lot of great rock musicians that have come here that just don't know country. But I've also heard a lot of these great rock guitar players destroy Sweet Child of Mine. Like, the other thing about solos, like, you can improv over Sweet Child of Mine, but I'm telling you, that happens to be one of the most signature guitar solos out there.
Of all time.
And it's like, when people are paying you money to hear these songs, they want to hear these familiar licks. And I've heard enough guitar players improv solos over that song where I'm like, dude, just learn it. It's a great solo. And people are going to be air guitaring with you, man. And if you're up there just jamming, playing some blues licks over it sucks. But that's me being old and complaining. Because
so you talked a little bit about for yourself how you learn in shapes.
Yeah.
You think in shapes. Are there any songs that you do play that aren't ever like the record, where you're just kind of like, these are what the changes are?
Well, if I don't know the song, hands down, I'm gonna get my way through it. I might listen to it real quick and hear if it's like a Root 5 kind of thing, or if it's just a pumping bass thing, or just whole notes. Or I'll ask the drummer or guitar player guy, what's the feel? And usually go, it's just kind of a Root 5 classic country thing. I'm like, cool. But then there's songs like Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers that we don't play it like I don't play it like the record. I do kind of the one signature lick that happens in the verse there, but
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that one, right? Because it's signature. You got to get that lick in there. But other than that, we'll just kind of I'll play it the way I want it to feel. It generally feels good, but
yeah,
I'll take some liberty and stuff like that. But if I'm playing 2 Dozen Roses, I'm playing it as close to the record because I've had enough guitar players and drummers kick my ass and going, you're overplaying. Just playing whole notes or just half notes, whatever. Boom, doom, 4. It's like, it's not a grooving thing. I don't know how to explain that. I will try to play some of those songs more like the record. Because if you're playing 2 Dozen Roses and you're going, boom, 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 boom. If you're playing like an 8th note groove and you're like, what is going on? And I've heard enough bass players that just try to sound like Jocko on tunes. I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, oh, dude. Totally.
It's cool that you can play 16-note grooves and it feels funky, but come on. It's a George Strait song.
It's cool that people can do that, but as a bass player, your first 5 frets are where you're making the money. They call it the cash register.
That's right. All the money notes are in those first 5 frets. That's, I don't know. I've worked with a guy named Alex North since 2018. So he is the longest running guitar player I've worked with. And Alex has kicked my ass for the last 8 years in a good way. It's maybe better because Alex and I will go and learn these songs. We'll revisit them. We'll play them and we'll stray away from them, or maybe we just don't play them enough, so we kind of hack our way through. But then we'll go and re-listen to the song and go, oh, fuck, man, we've been just playing it wrong this entire time. So at least with Alex, we try to re-listen to the songs and do our best to make them sound like that, because on the Losers gig, it's Robert Blair on drums. Amazing. One of the greatest solid drummers in town. And Robert plays the tempos and he plays the parts. And
is he playing to a click?
As sometimes he's definitely got live BPM up to make sure that we're grooving. Some songs he'll play to a click and he'll adjust it as needed, but he's always keeping us in time, which I love. And he's such a great drummer. And I think we sound really good on that gig, the 3 of us. So some people don't care to learn the record, and that's okay. But if you play a song enough times, go back and learn it. That's what I would say. If a song's getting called and you're hacking your way through it, go learn it. But if you play Amarillo by Morning, listen to that kick pattern, people. It's not what you think it is. And don't swing as much as so many bass players love to swing country. They'll be boom, ba-dong, boom, da-dong. That's not what the feel is. Listen to it. It's grooving. It's straighter than that.
Yeah.
It's simpler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just talking about the kick pattern. It's like, pay attention to what the kick drum is doing. That's your essential job as a bass player.
And if the drummer's any good and he's playing it as close to the record as possible, then that's what you follow. But you know what's great about working with drummers that you work with a lot is I've played enough songs for Bobby and I don't really know what the kick pattern is, or he forgot, and I'm playing a pattern and I'll look back because he didn't play the kick pattern, and he goes, no, you're right, I'll follow you. So we're constantly adjusting to each other.
Yeah.
And that's just good musical dialogue to have.
It's listening.
It's listening, bro. Yep.
That's another thing with music. It's like there's all sorts of players, and I post a lot of different. I don't know if you've ever seen any of my stories on Instagram that I repost of like people who are. So I post a lot of misfit music, I would say.
Okay.
Where it's like these people aren't actually very good. Okay. Like, but there's something so endearing about it. There's this one lady. I can't remember what her name is, like Brenda something or another. She's probably in her 40s or 50s, and she sings a lot of songs that are just kind of wonky.
Okay.
She's doing country. I'll have to send it to you, dude. Like I post shit to my stories all the time, and there's this other guy. He's like Zeus, King of Kings or something like that.
Okay.
Where he plays a Les Paul. He's got all the earrings. He's usually shirtless.
Yeah.
He's got tattoos, all that shit. And he'll be playing a song, but it'll be like Sweet Child of Mine, and he'll be soloing over a verse while Axl is singing.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I've played with a few of those guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. But it's just like it's almost like performance art to me when I see something like that.
Okay.
Where I'm like, this is so. I never want to call anybody bad, but I will say this is so bad that it's good. It's like a bad horror movie
I love that. Yeah.
where you're like, I'm really into this for some reason that I can't put my finger on. And a lot of these wonkier, like anybody can do music, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like if you just decide, hey, I'm gonna get an iMac and I'm going to get an interface.
You don't even need that. Download Suno, hum a melody in it, and it will build a song for you.
Well, I feel yes.
Well, I'm just saying that we're at that point where anyone can do it.
We're at a point where anybody can do it, and it was like as I was starting to try and find a singer for the Broadway band, as you know, kind of building it. A lot of singers sent me their original music, but it's of them where it sounds like this high quality studio band.
Okay.
But the vocals sound like they were recorded in a fucking bathroom.
Got it.
And I'm like, oh, they had Suno and told them what the song was.
Yeah.
And they just recorded with like their AirPods or some shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, I am dismissive of that.
That's
like
the purist in you, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, but there's another side to it where it's like not everybody has the means or they might not be able to play like a world-class drummer or bass player or guitar player.
100%.
So it's I feel two ways about it, you know? Like two things can be simultaneously true at once.
I've heard that before. Here's the one thing I want to at least recap on all this stuff, because I don't want to sound like a complete pompous asshole, even though it's very easy for me to sound like that because I can be. Ultimately, man, I came here, I learned, I started at the bottom like everyone else did. I had a few little opportunities along. I sucked. I mean, I was a good musician when I moved here, but when I got on Broadway, I sucked. And I sucked for a while, and I had to get better. I looked up to the bands that I admired and the musicians I admired. I'm like, why do they sound so good? Oh, because they're playing the parts. They're not.
And they do the work.
They do the work, right? So I took on that ethic to do that. And working with guys like Alex for the last 8 years, we push each other to become better. And Alex is one of my favorite guitar players in town. He does the work. That kid works his butt off. So I might talk crap about a lot of bands. I was one of those bands, too. I was that musician, too, for a while.
Totally. I mean, honestly, that's where I feel like I am right now.
And I feel like I'm better now. There's still room for improvement because there's always room to grow and become a better musician. But I was that guy. And I was old, though. I was 44 when I moved here. So my thing was I didn't have a lot of time. I had to figure out and make a plan so I could generate income to provide the lifestyle I wanted. So I worked really hard at it. And I would just say anyone that's trying to get it going, it's like, it's okay to suck. It's okay to not be great. And it's okay to overplay in the beginning. But if you really want to become a great musician out here, which Nashville can create bad habits or it can create great musicians, just go home and work on it, man. And record your gigs. I record audio. Man, I've got to pull it up. The first gig I got in Nashville and I got fired from, well, kind of a soft firing, I recorded the gigs with that girl. And I botched Redneck Woman. I botched the solo section. I didn't count the half bar or whatever it is that's going on there. And I did that 3 times in a row. And she finally said, you've got to learn these songs. You can't learn on the gig. You've got to go home and learn this stuff. I went home. I hit her up a few days later. And I said, I listened to the audio. I'm like, I'm not ready for your gig. And I said, thank you. And she goes, well, call me when you're ready. You know, if I got a spot open, I'll give you another chance. I go, appreciate it. But I was recording those early gigs and hearing how I was overplaying, making horrible mistakes, wasn't listening because I was so nervous, bro. I was so green.
Fight or flight mode.
I was so nervous. I was just trying to get through every song. And unfortunately, that affects your playing because you're worried. You're pulling up a song. I can barely read a chart or someone's throwing me numbers and you're new and every song sounds the same or it doesn't. It's like every Waylon song sounds like every Merle song to me. I mean, Family Tradition sounded no different than Stay Here and Drink, but because I didn't grow up on this music. So I was a wreck, dude. I was nervous and I was panicked. that's why I think I had to go home and do a lot of the work. So I feel like I'm still a great bass player. I think my time's great. I record all my gigs on USBs, man. I go listen to it still.
Damn.
I don't listen to the whole thing, but I'll skim through it and just go, how are we playing? Okay, we're staying good. We're not overplaying. We're staying in the pocket. Because if you don't evaluate your playing, Broadway will help create a monster of you in a bad way.
How so?
Because, man, you start playing things wrong. You start rearranging stuff, or you're overplaying, or you're jamming too much, or we like to reharmonize songs, so sometimes we get a little too jazzy on stuff, but you just you get bad habits, and you stop playing the song. You start just kind of messing off, and if the drummer isn't playing because he doesn't know the song, you start not giving a shit, and you're just phoning it in, and then the whole band sucks. So the trick is just to stay on top of it, reevaluate, record audio, voice note gigs, man. It's always good to just skim through, just to hear how we are. Even after 9 years, I do it, man, because I want to know how we sounded. When we did that CMA Fest, I recorded the 2 nights, man, and it was great the first night we had so many issues. I didn't get into this. We had so many issues that first CMA Fest night with those artists. The sound was horrendous for us on stage. The monitor guy didn't know what he was doing. It was an amazing sound crew that they hired to build the stage and the sound. They've been used every year, but for some reason this night, that sound guy was absolutely bonkers. He didn't know what he was doing. Our ear mixes were horrible. They could not fix it. It sounded horrible, bro. And we're up here backing these artists with everyone staring at us, and we're going, oh, my God. But we got all these great compliments afterwards. Like, you guys sounded great. It was amazing. And everything sounded so killer out here.
That's when the 10,000 hours comes through.
Right? And we pushed through it, and we did what we did. And then when I listened to that, the recording of those 2 nights, I'm like, man, we sounded pretty damn good considering all of the hurdles we went through on that first night. It was horrible, bro. Like, it was to the point where you just tuned it out, and you just go, well, let's just hope this all works. I'm just going to play the songs. Because to me, I couldn't hear anything. There was feedback going on nonstop. The subwoofers were out of control. You couldn't hear any definition. It was horrible, bro. But again, 10,000 hours, if you've done enough of the work, and then we listen back to them, like, we sounded amazing.
Well, I feel like going back to like fight or flight when you're playing, and I feel like this is not something that's talked about a lot, but musicians, when you're in fight or flight mode, you go back to whatever your habits or your impulses, like your core impulses are as a player. Yeah. It shines through in both bad and good ways. Sometimes it can save you. Sometimes it can't. And it's like the more you do it, the more you're able to learn from your experience. It was kind of like you talked about with that gig. This is the first night, how the sound was dog shit, but you guys still managed to, like, we sounded pretty good. Yeah,
and we had no other choice. We had to do it. So and that's what a professional will do. And I'll tell you this much. The reason why I got through that gig that first night is because I played enough Tootsie's gigs where the sound was horrific on the front stage, and I love Tootsie's, but guess what? They have horrible nights down there, and you have to set up.
Just like we have horrible nights as musicians.
Yeah, you have to get set up real quick. Sometimes the mix isn't right. They're doing the best they can to keep the flow going, and you just got to get
down a sound guy.
Yep,
who's floating between floors.
Yeah. So you learn to work in that chaos, and that's the one good thing about working in Broadway is that all these bars, they all have the same issues. They have bad days and bad nights, and we learn to get through the gig no matter what. And if you can get through it, at the end of the day, you're going to be happy you did because you're going to be prepared to do anything. And I think us being able to get through that CMA Fest that night one is as easy as we did. It's because we've been doing this for so long that we're prepared for the worst case scenario. So.
Talk a little bit about your foray into making content.
Oh God. All this has been I have a note on my phone that hasn't been updated since 2019. So I had this idea back 7 years ago or whatever. I just wanted to talk to my friends, kind of like what we're doing. I just want to get on camera talking to my buddies. I just want to get some insight of touring artists, songwriters in town, a lot of Broadway guys, because that's kind of my circle. and just get some tips of like what works and what doesn't down there. How did you break in? Kind of, stuff that we all kind of want to know. And I'm just literally, it's low budge, man. I'm just doing it in my car. I just set up the camera in my car. I do have some wireless mics I bought for $50 on Amazon. And I just sit there and ask them a bunch of questions. And I'm nervous because this is a new area for me. So,
But you've been new before at something.
yeah, right. And we talked about that where it's like I was the new guy in Nashville and I'm feeling the same fear I'm dealing with doing this content creation stuff. It's the same fear I felt when I moved to Nashville. So you reminded me that I just need to get over it, bro, because I've been here before and I've overcome it. So I got to put out those videos where I kind of overtalk a little bit. I probably have done it here. I'm just not used to this. It's been a while since I've been in front of a camera and on a microphone. So
it's a skill just like anything else.
Yeah.
I've been doing this now since like 2016, 2017.
Bro, it's natural. You sound totally natural. It's
Yeah,
like we were talking on my couch the other day.
I've been so much behind like a microphone or on camera for like a good portion of my adult life now that it's just normal to me.
Yeah.
So it's like the same person I am. Like if we didn't have these mics here, we would be having the same conversation.
Bro, it feels this when you came over to my house a few weeks ago. You were the same guy sitting on my couch as you are right here.
Yeah.
It's so natural. It's
Yeah. Well, it's just, again, it's because I'm that level of comfortable now.
Yeah.
Like, and it took me a while to get there. And it's different too because everybody has a different comfort level doing it. Where for me, it's not intimidating at all to walk into this room. But for an artist who's used to just like recording and maybe playing some gigs, they walk in and it's like the lights go on, the cameras are going, you see the lights.
Bro, I can be on stage, Kid Rock's packed on a Friday night and get on the microphone and just engage with the crowd and everything's cool. I went to that honky tonk school thing like a month ago.
Oh, yeah,
right?
where we met. Yeah.
Bro, I was so nervous. Scott called me up and says, "Hey, Chef, get up here, man." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Just talk." I'm like, and bro, I was so nervous.
I mean, you did good there too.
Whatever, man. But I was so uncomfortable. But that is also a good thing, man, is to be uncomfortable because you got to learn how to overcome that.
Yeah.
And you'll be happy you did.
Well, you have to decide, okay, do I not like this because I'm uncomfortable or do I not like this because it's not my interest or it's not my path?
Right.
Because there's a difference between those two things too. And it's like for me, like I just have done it for so long that it's.
Man, the only reason I'm pushing doing this content thing right now is I've seen guys in the last 5 years that have documented their first year in town and said this is what it's like working on Broadway, a day in the life of a Broadway musician, and this is how you become successful down here, and this is how much money you really make on this stuff, and my thing was, it's like, okay, that's that guy's perspective. And, it's all good. I'm glad that those people have created stuff. But I want to get into the belly of the beast and talk to the guys who've been doing it for 5, 10, 15 years. I want to find out what it was like when you got here. What was your path getting here? What did you do to get it? And what have you done to maintain it? And the thing is that I made a post today where I go, everyone has a different journey to get here. It's a different path. But guess what? We all do the same shit to get to the ultimate goal. And that's working, that's networking. And the one thing we didn't talk about today, I wish we did, is I wish more people would get off their phones and their computer and go out and hang around the people you want to work with. Go shake hands with people. That's the one thing that I'm finding with all the guys I've talked to is Aaron Thompson, Kevin McMahon. We all just talked about this last week where it's like, these guys were downtown working the strip, walking. They were down there 5 days a week, sometimes 7. All they did was hang out in the bars that they liked, and they'd watch the bands that they liked. They'd go get friends with them. They'd start shaking hands. They'd build friendships with them. They eventually built a great little network of all the bands that they liked in, and they eventually started getting work. But a lot of that came from being there, seeing each other, saying hi, being visual. Like Kevin was saying, be seen, man. If there's one thing that you need to do is you need to be seen. And being seen That's all I did when I moved here. I was every fucking night. Well, I was down there 4 nights a week, just saying hi to everyone, watching bands. I'd take photos of them. I might post it. I might tag them if I knew what their tag was. But I at least was going down there. And eventually, I'd walk into these bars and be like, the bass player like, "Oh, what's up, Chef?" And I'd be like, "Oh, he fucking knows me now."
Yeah.
Cool. And we just started building friendships. And then from there, they started going, "Hey, man, you want to come sit in?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Everybody needs to take a leak at some point during a 4-hour set.
Yeah, so I'm cool with letting him go take a pee break and sitting in for a song or two. But man, most of that heavy work from the people that I see working their asses off downtown, these are the guys that weren't just on social media like, "Hey man, available downtown with gear, bro."
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Or, "Hey man, I got some openings this week and some things fell through, so I got some openings on Saturday." It's like, you don't have any gigs you're looking for, which is cool. But man, most of the guys I've talked to, I go, "How many gigs have you gotten from Nashville Gig Finder?" And they're like, "Not even a handful." I'm like, exactly. Nashville Gig Finder is great if all of a sudden, and we've done it before, we're like, "I need a drummer," and we play in an hour.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be someone that's going to respond and go, "I'm available." And you're going to take whoever that is because you're in a bind because all your normal guys are booked.
Yep.
And you're going to take that guy. So work does happen from that. But that is not how...
But you have to be, as a musician, when a pinch hit situation comes up like that, you have to have already done the work to be able to take a gig like that.
And not everyone does do the work, but that's okay. that you gotta say yes to everything though, bro. I did. I said yes to almost anything I could, and I sucked in the beginning, but I got better.
Yeah.
But I did say yes. But I was saying yes to last minute 911 texts or messages, so they knew what to expect. And I go, "I'm totally green, but I have charts and I'll do my best." And like, "We don't care, just get here.
Yeah.
We need someone right now."
Right now.
Right? And then I learned and I got better from it. But, one guy that story that I just want to share that I think was great is I just talked to my buddy Kevin yesterday. Kevin McMahon's been here for 2.5 years. How I was aware of Kevin is Kevin would make videos he would make a play-along video every 2 weeks. A Brooks and Dunn song, Luke Combs, something. Every 2 weeks, he'd throw some bit of him playing a song. He wasn't on stage. It was in his bedroom. But he was making great content. He'd be shooting stories of him downtown looking at different bands. And so all of a sudden, this guy started showing up on my feed. So I followed him. I started connecting with them. And what I noticed was that was Kevin's secret sauce of being seen. He goes, "Yeah, maybe we weren't connecting, but I was at least, you saw my social media presence. It got me aware of it. Then you started seeing him all the time, just hanging out, coming and watching you for like 15 minutes. And then he'd be like, 'Hey, man, going to the next bar to go see the next band.' And he would just be down there living nonstop. And so I think social media, I know it's more important now, but most of the gigs are going to come through your networking relationships through other bass players, if you're a bass player.
Yep.
It's going to come through that channel of people. It's going to come through those friendships that you meet down there. And when you start working and sitting in with these bands, eventually they're going to go, "Okay, he can play more than 2 songs." Because if you come up and sit in and you can play Chattahoochee really well and maybe Amarillo by Morning, but then they call something else and you don't know it, oh, he's still green. But the more they see you, the more you're sitting in, they're going to see what you're capable of as a musician, and they're going to understand that this guy's green. He needs charts, so he might need to pull stuff up a lot. But he's a good player, and he's a cool hang.
Yeah.
Get him. But most of your work is going to come through that, not through your social media posts, not through Facebook. But yet, having a social media presence is absolutely important, especially
You just can't rely on it.
You can't rely on it, but man, put the content out because that is so valuable. Because when someone says, "Hey, Taylor is we're going to hire this guy Taylor," someone suggested him. We're going to look at your social media and see what you've been doing, and then that's where I'm going to go, "Okay, I feel good. Yeah, let's get him on the gig," because I'm watching all these videos of you or seeing that you're posting stuff. But I don't know. I would say shake a lot of hands, man. If there's any advice I could give to anyone that worked for me and a lot of my buddies, is we were down there in the trenches, hanging out, watching, bummed out, going, "God, I should be on that stage." No, you shouldn't be on that stage. You will, though.
You have to earn it.
You got to earn it. But go hang out and build those friendships with those guys, man, because guess what? They see that kind of work ethic from you and that determination, that ambition, that drive. People are going to notice that, and then they're going to want to help you. And this community down here will help anyone that is hungry enough and is good enough.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that's a perfect place to end it.
Cool.
Where can people find you at?
Nowhere. Man, just Chef Music on Instagram. That's really kind of my only platform. Really.
Plug your YouTube, dude.
Dude, not yet, bro. Not yet. I don't even have a name for it yet, dude. Not yet.
Okay.
But you'll be able to find it through the Instagram. There'll be a Linktree link, so it'll go to the YouTube stuff.
Okay.
I'm still
You're still working on
Taylor,
it.
man. I'm still green and
in
nervous.
the same way you've been giving me some guidance, I can give you some guidance as well. You got to do it.
You've been very. I will say, after our hang a few weeks ago, man, I walked away from that really happy that I was able to share a bunch of stuff with you.
Yeah.
But man, the feedback that you were giving me made me just stand up a little bit more and going, yeah, maybe I can do this.
You can do it, dude.
So I appreciate
anybody can do it.
I appreciate you, man, being a good support system for me.
Of course. Keep on dreaming. See you next week.
Woo!